everyone. I'm Rochelle Clausen.
And I'm Nicole Tremblay. We're the co-directors of Anatomyscapes, and we write the Anatomy for Touch column at Massage Bodywork magazine.
We like to talk about some of the lesser known anatomy in our columns, things like myofascial expansions. In this issue, we're going to talk about the myofascial expansion of the bicep brachii muscle.
Most of us are really familiar with the biceps origin. The tendon inserts into the radial tuberosity of the radius bone. But it also inserts into the deep fascia of the forearm.
What?
Yeah, new story.
To explain this concept a little bit more, enjoy this clip that we prepared for you from one of our online courses called The Fascia Report, where we go into more detail about this unique relationship between muscles and fascia.
Enjoy the clip, and be sure to check out our recent ABMP podcast where we dive deep into myofascial expansions.
That's right. And, or you could just come to San Diego
right.
and study with us in person. Check out our website, anatomyscapes.com, to see when we're having our next dissection lab-based workshop here. See you next time. So the myofascial expansion of the forearm that we want to kind of elaborate today is the bicep muscle. So this is another kind of myofascial expansion, has its tapering of the muscle fibers. It becomes more fascial fibers, which become more tendinous fascial fibers. When we're talking about fascia as a system that goes down and in between the muscles and dives down to the periosteum and then becomes the outer wrapping of the bone, right, in the forearm. But that's not the end of the story. This graphical representation has crudely shown you that there is some fascia that stays on the top, like a sail being stretched from the mast of the tendon is the mast and the muscle is the mast. The sail of a membrane of fascia cascades down to the outer wrapping of the lower arm as the antebrachial emerges with the antebrachial fascia. So this is quite a story. It's like, okay, wait a second. What about levers? When you flex a muscle, that the tendon crosses the joint and it pulls on the bone, and there you have a flexion of your arm. But if that's not untrue, it's just that there's more. And I think that's really what Anatomyscapes is all about. We want to show you what beyond the basic thing that you were learned, this layer that was omitted from a lot of our training that we're touching every day, which is why it's important to us, has another story going on. This is the real one from the lab, and you can see how gorgeous it is. So I'll just point it out. This is the myofascial expansion. So we're still on the surface. Bicep is coming down from the top left, and then we're diving down and into the antebrachial fascia down towards the bottom right. If we were to think that the bicep tendon only inserted to the bone and we didn't know about that myofascial expansion, we're missing part of the story. You will find, now that you know more about fascia, when you go back to your classic anatomy books, however, that there's a lot of insertions and origins that do talk about fascial kind of connections. And I always think that that's funny. When you go back and read the thing you read before, you're like, oh, they do talk about that. And so it's this awareness lift that happens.
Right. Oh, it's more meaningful when you go back too, right?
Yeah. So the bicep is inside that pocket. It's inside that outer sleeve, but its expansion then becomes a part of so it's within the outer sleeve. It becomes a part of the outer sleeve of the lower arm. So the sensory kind of situation that's going on here has quite a bit happening as well, that the muscles are working with the perception of the tensioning of the outer bag. It also happens from a muscle that's within the forearm as it extends into the hand. And not only that, there's muscles from the chest that do the same kind of thing as it goes into the upper arm. So in other words, you have these kind of like, almost think of them as telescoping fascial communications that come from the primary trunk of the body that go all the way out to the limbs, so that as you bring your hand, and typically a curl starts with the fingers and then it goes into the wrist and then it goes to the arm, as you bring the whole thing in, that story is a smooth, continuous, highly communicated myofascial, neuromuscular fascial organized situation that is likely designed for efficiency, communication, and smoothness, let's just say, that takes away the awkwardness that we see in robots, which robots are only working typically with levers. I can't wait for the robots that start to include fascia and myofascial expansions. Then we're really there, right? That's what.
you.